like I felt a certain way about people saying like, oh, you're a public pretender or whatever, especially knowing like I worked really hard to get into law school. And I was really offended when, clients would say stuff like, oh, like you're not a real attorney, or you should, like, I can't afford a real lawyer or something like that. And I remember I was complaining to my husband and he was like, you don't think that has happened to people before? Is it like unfair to have that sort of criticism? And I'm like, well, you know what? I have to understand where people are coming from, and it's my job to prove every step of the way that that's not the experience that you're going to have working with me or working with my office.
I think the other challenge that public defenders and anybody who does criminal defense faces is what expert Craig Haney described as the miseducation of the public on crime and on people who are charged with committing crimes. And he talks about how the media systematically miseducates people. And this miseducation results in people being viewed through through a lens of denying them their humanity and their dignity. And so, that challenge of understanding that my clients are often viewed in a dehumanized way is also part of my inspiration. It's why I love doing the work, because I get the opportunity to fight against that. I get the opportunity to tell my client's story.
Well, when you're a solo practitioner, as I was, and especially in the criminal defense field, you're on call, so to speak, 24/7. I mean, people don't have a 9 to 5 arrest schedule. They get arrested at night, they get arrested in the morning, they get arrested on the weekends. You get called. My home phone was always busy. And so I had to have a special phone number in my house so that clients could reach me. And my wife couldn't imagine why at 12 o'clock at night the phone would ring and I'd be running out of the house. But that's what you have to do as a criminal defense attorney. You have to be available when people need you.
Well, I think you have to be mindful of work-life balance. You have to be mindful of your own mental health. You have to know when you're getting to the point where you're overwhelmed or too stressed out, because I mean, it's corny, but you can't pour from an empty cup. So you need to know when to hit pause, to give yourself a break, and to take time off. So I would give that advice to someone following me. I mean, that you have to be aware of that, because you don't want to end up burning out.
Prosecutors don't spend a lot of time explaining their jobs in the press, because we're supposed to do our jobs. We're supposed to be the servants of the public. We're, as Robert Morgenthau would say when he was a Manhattan DA, we're supposed to do our jobs without fear or favor. And part of being a prosecutor is not litigating your case in the press, not necessarily selling yourself in the press. You're the ones who are quietly doing what you believe to be the right thing. Other people might be louder, and the louder voices who might say things that, at least from a prosecutor's point of view, are not entirely accurate, maybe get a lot of attention. And so it's definitely a challenge in that sense.
I had to encourage a 19-year-old, 19 at the time, nursing student who had been shot in the neck and in the hip and partially paralyzed. She was not a gang member. She was just in the wrong place at the wrong time and suffered life-changing injuries. She was terrified. She testified, from my perspective, beautifully and effectively. But it was a part of me that was also witnessing her being re-traumatized on that stand. But I know that that was a difficult day for her, and it will always be a difficult day for me. In that same trial, I put on the mother of a rival gang member that was murdered. And so we walked to the car, and I feebly attempted to offer her my condolences once again, and my thanks and appreciation, just something, to say something to her in gratitude for the courage that it took for her to speak in that moment. And she just gently put her hand up, closed her eyes, shook her head, and she said, "Mr. Farina, thank you. I know what you're trying to do, but I didn't come here for that. That's not why I'm here. Nobody in the system ever listened to me or my son because he was just a gang member, and a lot of people said he got what he deserved. Nobody saw him. They just saw his gang colors. But you saw him. You always saw him, and you always treated him like a person, and you treated me like a human being. I came here today to court for justice. I came here today for closure. I wanted to know that the system saw me and my family, and I got that today. And that's all the thanks I need. And that was one of the highs of my career, hearing that, feeling that wave of satisfaction wash over me to know that what I do matters and that it has an impact on our community.
It saddens me that I guess the biggest challenge is the interest in criminal law on both sides, right? On the prosecution, on the defense, and even we've seen other places in other legal aid societies and other public interest types of positions. There are so many positions open statewide, right? Like not just in the rural counties, not just in Wyoming County, but statewide. There are so many opportunities that, and no one is applying for them. That is super sad because you get so much, you have so much to offer the people that we represent. And there's so much fulfillment out of the work that we do that how can people not want to apply and at least try it?